Okay, people, it's been a long time, but let's get into this. So the recent weakness in the dollar in the past previous how many days, this is about almost a week now, seems to be affecting the dollar all round. You can see this long bearish trend that has been happening recently, all thanks to Trump and the tariff wars. We've landed in a position where we think, or we thought, it's going to take off, but right now we're still in somewhat of a consolidation. And why do we say consolidation? So we're within this range, which is supposed to be a fair value area by our calculation, right? But this is not a fair value area. I mean, even if I take this down, right, if I take this down, then what we expect to see is price is going to rush out of this place if it wants to go even lower. But with this in mind, since price is moving in the direction we think it should be moving based on, market structure, fair value areas, turn off the other one so you guys see it clearly. You can see it came down, so this is not depicting it completely, so I think I'll reduce it even further. Yeah, so you can see this is the low, high, makes a low, makes a high within this zone, makes a low again, comes back up. So it was either supposed to mitigate this or this, but it didn't make its way to any of them anyway. And then we got here, took out liquidity, went down again, came back up for fair value, went down again. Now it's pushing up, but it has currently gotten to this place, which is a decisive zone. You can see basically what this means is this is the decisive zone, and you can see what price is doing as it has gotten to a decisive zone. You see it came into the decisive zone and it's found its way down. Most people will call it supply and demand zone. We call it a supply zone. This whole thing, we call it a whole supply zone. So it came in and it's beginning to push even further. So what we expect next is this low. If price continues to go down for the dollar, that's for the DAX, right? This is the US dollar index. So taking this into account and then projecting it onto the dollar large, we have the monthly view for Australian dollar, US dollar. And from this view, what can we see? Last month we had a strong rejection of a low. You can see this low right here, and then this last month's candle right here, which is a very, very strong rejection. Allow me to utilize something on my screen. So yeah, so you can see this candle right here, major rejection, very, very strong rejection, as you can see. And with such rejection, what do you expect? We come up to the weekly, and what we see right now is this is the rejection right here, two long candles. I mean, if you are trading within these wicks, then you definitely made massive gains or loss due to depending on the side of the market you are standing on. But what we're seeing right now is price pushing up very strongly, but now it's losing momentum in its push upwards, even though the dollar is not so strong recently. But the Australian dollar is not strong enough to really keep that push going up, and we are still below the Supertrend, that is the 10 period. You can see the length of 10 periods, we're still below, and hence it is still seeing it as a bearish market. But in the opinion of normal traders, right, in the opinion of normal traders, going above this high already signifies a possible change. But don't forget, this is a zone right here. You can see that this zone is currently where we are at, and price could do anything here. So until price makes its way above or below this zone, I don't think you should look too much into this market to trade anything if you're a long-term trader. But for short-term traders, I mean, there's something coming on here. Not really short-term, but more like medium-term traders like me, like myself, intraday traders. You can see we have a weekly fair value gap right here, and with this fair value gap, we're simply waiting to see price do what? Mitigate the fair value gap and start to push higher. I know my chart is going to be a bit confusing today because of the super trend right there, but not to worry, I would explain what that is over a period of time. Going on to Euro US dollar. So in the Euro US dollar, we have seen serious push above previous highs. You can see this push above 2024 September's high, and also price closed well above the July 2023 high, but not really well above, just a little bit above. Came down for mitigation. So we're in the process of creating a monthly fair value gap right here, but this is not, I mean, you could put it, but it is not due to be created yet until the month is over, and we are just some days away from the month being over. So putting that into consideration, right? Putting that into consideration, we're looking at a weekly fair value gap right now. So this, my friend, is what is really in context. You can see it right here. This is what is in context, and with this in context, you can see I didn't get this trade. I haven't been trading recently. Today is the day I'm really going to look at the market. Like, I looked at the market today and I saw a lot of chances I have missed in the past 2 weeks. So you can see last week this is a market that one should have been in. You can see there's a profit and loss, what is it called again? Long position 2 showing up there. So what is this long position 2 doing? Well, if you go down to the 4 hours, you know the usual, right? My usual tactics. I see fair value gap in, fair value gap in, and a fair value gap out of that place. So price go, in order not to confuse you, like I said, this is not active yet. So you can see this is a weekly fair value gap, and price came in and out. Yes, I know you'd see this. I think I took this trade here, this one, price in and then price out, but I didn't trust this trade when I first saw it, because I was like, it doesn't look like a clear break. You know, there was this high I was expecting price to find its way towards with strong momentum, but I wasn't seeing momentum, so I stopped. And then the week I just took my eyes off the market finally did what it was supposed to do all this time. It pushed higher, and you can see if I had entered this trade, I would have entered this trade somewhere around here, aiming for a 2 to 1. And you can see right here the 2 to 1 is literally lying on top of a clear zone, like a zone that is really clear, and that's a good indication that this is most likely going to be reached. You can see this has been reached, and price is, you know, doing some sort of, should I call it, dance. And at this point we expect, what do I expect? So I want to draw a very miniature market structure for you right here. You can see this market structure really showing up, right? So what we expect is price comes down to somewhere around this level, picks up for this point, and after that we don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen, so I'm just watching. If you want to take trades in this place, you could trade the lower time frame, probably the 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and all that stuff. Heading on to the British pound US dollar, let's start with the monthly. So on the monthly, we have similar scenario, right? Similar scenario with the euro US dollar. We have a fair value gap building up strongly on this place, and that would be the monthly, a monthly context, right? That would be a monthly context. But we have one small issue. Price isn't comfortable above this high here, which is quite risky on its own. But nevertheless, we go into the weekly, and you can see right here we have a clear, should I call it a clear miss, a very painful miss in my opinion. The fair value gap is having a very beautiful, in fact this is like the best kind of overlap on a fair value gap you can ever have. The best kind of overlap. You can see the overlap is exactly one candle away. Price pushed clearly above it, gave you a good consolidation third candle, came in, also gave us what, a 2 candle rejection. So you can see right there on the daily, price came in, mitigated the first time. It's actually going to be seen better on the 4 hours. So price came in the first time, mitigated, went up and came in again and did the exact thing we usually look for in the market. You can see, and this is really tiny. It is so tiny But if you had waited even a little bit more, you'd see this second one and then this one. And if you're patient, right? If you're patient, some people might not be patient after seeing this one and they will go with this. This is the last one here, right? They'll go with the last one that gets stop loss just below this and take profit at 2, right? At 2. So they are actually aiming for all of this, which is, in my opinion, should I say very risky? Yeah, it is very risky. But if you look at it, price did come back for this fair value gap. So if you are looking at this fair value gap, then automatically you have reduced your take profit target to this position, and with your take profit targets within this position, you can see you are doing very well, very well in the profit area. So I'm trying to combine this alongside with the super trend, so I don't have to look at market structure too much before I start to take trades, right? This is what I'm trying to do. And if this is good for me, then I already have the tactics I want to use to do this, but I haven't started implementing it yet. I just started learning all of this today. Heading into the New Zealand US dollar. Now, when I say learning all of this, I don't mean the strategy I'm using. I'm talking about strategy in terms of incorporating the super trends into my strategy. So on the New Zealand US dollar, right? What are we looking for as usual? Reasons to trade and reasons not to trade. So currently we have a bearish situation right here, but you can notice, if you notice something, price has not mitigated here yet, right? And price doesn't have a monthly clear push for an uptrend. But if we open the weekly, we see this, and this is like one of the best things I noticed about this super trend. You can see it's giving us a clear green entrance. Yes, not that this is like an entry, it's just telling you that this candle is the candle that that is possibly going to start an up running. That is like it's going to possibly start a bullish trend in terms of this whole super trend on the weekly chart. Why? Because whenever price crosses the trend line, it tells you to take the other side of the trend. Same thing as your trend line break and break off structure, like this one, for example. Let's say you had this trend line here, or let's just say the trend line was here, and then you see this break. You're supposed to take your entry after the close of this candle, and you can see clearly right here that is exactly where it's still telling you the exact same thing. But we're not trading trend lines, right? We're trading MMC, right? We're seeing what MMC is saying, in as much as we've taken like serious L's recently. But yeah, some people might be wondering how my account came up to 10,000. I will show you how I did that. I actually used this to do that stuff. But what do we see weekly? The 4 hours, what do we have? The glorious usual, right? We have the first candle mitigation. You can see in this case we have multiple candles, which is not a good thing. It's supposed to be at most 2 candles. After 2 candles it becomes less credible. You can see we had the first candle, the second candle, and now the third candle was what started to push up. And in my opinion, this is not so trustworthy, to be honest. So we had this first candle. Luckily there was no fair value gap in this drop, in this order flow, this leg here. So this, obviously you shouldn't have taken the trade here, but there's something here, right? There was something here. This was the second one. There was a fair value gap right here in, and a fair value gap out. But something you would have noticed, right? Something you would have noticed is this was not really like pushed towards. And in my opinion, I'm getting worried about something like this. But when I see something like what is right here, right now, you can see that down push and that strong set of up push. You can see the two of them, very consecutive, very well followed. So something like this gives me confidence. Matter of fact, I'm going to take this trade for one reason. Why? Because this trade is still very close. You can see it's still very close to my target point, like my entry point. So the entry point is supposed to be here, stop loss here. So let's just take this trade live right now, right? Put in a buy order, an instant buy order. You can see how close to my entry it is. Put in the take profit right here, stop loss right here, stop loss just below everything. So I want to start using a new method. I want to start using a different method. I want to start trading my stop loss with the trend, but that will be later in time. So we're going to be putting this at $96. So the usual, right? 10% of the account balance. 10%? Did I say 10%? Sorry, 1%. That was 1%. And we're gonna instantly enter this order. We don't know if it's gonna work. Fingers crossed. We're watching the market. Nothing is certain. You're just trading, right? Up next is the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. And so first thing, I see a possible strong fall right here. Possible fall right here. Where is the target if this fall is happening? The target will be here on the monthly. The target will be here on the monthly. So let's dive in deeper, right? If that is the monthly flow, then we have this weekly flow right here, which is sitting directly in line with the monthly fair value gap. That is quite shitty in my opinion. Something like this usually leads to market doing very foolish move like this and then coming back somewhere like here and coming back then down here. Why do I think it's going to come down all the way down here? So there's a high tendency. This, you can see this right here. I think if I put it on the monthly, you can see what I said about one candle directly before the fair value gap starts. So this is the first candle of the fair value gap, second candle, and this will be the third candle, and this is the candle just before it. So this is my most trustworthy, should I call it overlap, my most trustworthy overlap. And putting that into daily, right? On the daily, I'm looking for price to do whatever it wants to do and come down within the zone. So this market right now is not yet to be bought. It is close to the point where I expect buying opportunities. I'm selling opportunities, sorry. Moving on to US dollar Swiss franc. This is a currency that is very similar, right? Very similar. We have this going on, a very strong close above lows, but no overlapping. You can see this is the second best kind of stuff, but it's not the best. No, sorry, this is the third best. This right here is the best. So you can see this is the best. I'm going to put it on the monthly so you see it. This is the best. Let me just zoom in and make it nicer for you guys. So this is the best, where we have this happening, where we have something like this, one candle away with this. This is the best I have seen. The second best is when this is found, but maybe not as the second candle, maybe the third, fourth, fifth, like some candles away, but this is found, but it's overlapping, right? It is clearly overlapping. This is the third best. It is not overlapping. It is now just before that point in the direction you are expecting the market to go. So basically in the coming months, maybe 1 or 2 months, I expect price to make its way. But this is not the market I trust. Why? Because there's another one seated right here. So I won't really completely trust this market. I don't really completely trust this market. But if I go down to the weekly, right? If I go down to the weekly, now you can see where the real deal really is. You can see that this weekly had a very constructive overlap. So at this point in time, I'm looking at this like it might take a long time before this is called upon, right? It might take a long time before this, my buffer here, is going to be called upon. But because with this weekly actually working right now, there's a high tendency I will see price, you know, function like this before it starts to do anything towards this, just like the former one, and then probably push up or even totally insults and go for this one. But there's every tendency that if this happens, then this might most likely happen. So you can see how bad it is for this too to happen, just because this is currently happening already. And we missed, or rather I missed this. You can see this is the first candle, this is the second candle rejection, this is the third candle. So this is not a surefire movement yet. Basically, it's not really a surefire movement, but surprisingly, I did make money from this market. Now, like I said, you were wondering where I made money to take my account balance back above 10,000. Well, this is it. You can see it right here. Sell. And this is, I'm not hiding anything, right? I'm not hiding anything. I have lots and lots of losses to show you guys, plenty of it. Though I have constantly kept the account balance running. Started all the way from December 16th. December 23rd was when I took my first trade. You can see the account created December 16th all the way till date. These are all the trades. What's happening? Okay, yeah, these are all my trades. You can see the series of bad losses I had recently, and then this last trade. So this last trade was literally a test. I was just testing something. I was testing the Supertrend trading. So taking the market as soon as it steps out of bound, like as soon as it steps out of, I need to hide everything. Okay, I don't think I need to hide. I need to hide all the drawings basically. So as soon as it steps out of this zone, I was supposed to take a trade. So I took a trade here. Allow me to show you guys again. I closed. So open dates for this trade was 19th. You see, it was just some days ago, 19th around PM, 7 PM. So right here, you can see I waited for the market to, I clearly waited for the market to make its way. Oh, okay. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to remove the lines, right? I'm going to hide the lines. Yeah. So I waited for the market to make its way towards the direction, like make its way as close as possible to this last candle, and then I entered this market around here. So if you draw a line, this is where I'm supposed to enter the market, but this is where I entered the market, and I did this. So this is what I did. At this point, this was the stop loss. This will make it my take profit. So what I did was I said, since the market was already moving, when I moved here, I pulled this further down to this position right here. I just said, let's stop at an exact round figure, right? I was scared, so I said, all right, let's just put it here because I'm just testing something. So I decided to put it alongside with this line right here. You can see this line right here. That was where I decided to place my stop loss, my take profit alongside with, and I started trading it along with this. Whenever this goes down and the candle closes, I move the stop loss. Whenever it goes down, the candle closes, I move the stop loss, and then you can see the rest in is history. So according to MMC, this market, this particular one is supposed to flow through for me right now. Like it is really supposed to flow through on the weekly. Why? Because the weekly is having a very beautiful overlap. If you go into the 4 hours, we had a clear reason to jump into this market. You see the fair value gap in, right? Fair value gap in. There's another one, but it's very tiny, very tiny. You see it here, fair value gap in, and then the fair value gap out. So I do not really trust tiny fair value gaps, right? So I waited for order flow. right? I would wait for order flow when I see something like this. I definitely wouldn't trust this even if I saw it like live. I would wait for an order flow, which is price goes this, comes here, and pushes down. In this position, it pushes and creates a fair value gap, showing that it is intending to push even further before I would enter this trade, which I actually did enter this trade for two reasons. My strategy, one, and secondly, the super trend I was testing. So this market is still likely going to be bearish for a while. We're not so sure, right? We're not so sure. We're just observing and seeing what's happening. Last but not least is the US dollar, Japanese yen. We're looking at the monthly. The monthly, I don't see a direction. Matter of fact, I see a strong consolidation. Take a look at the zigzag indicator right now. You can see it has been keeping, it's finding hard to move further. Matter of fact, it's drawing something you would call a choke. Change of market structure. Let me write that somewhere. So change of market, change of character, right? It's literally drawing a choke right here. And how do you even know a choke? Choke is usually a bearish choke, right? You see price do this, then do something like this and breaks this structure, right? I need to clean all of that. Sorry, that was an error. I need to clean all of that. Sorry about that. So price makes this move, comes down here, breaks this. So you can see price move like this. You can see price move like this. You know, basically breaking this level with this move, and then see it push downwards, and the next thing you'll find is something like this. So this is a choke somewhat, and you can see it right here. If you decide to draw this out like this, right? You can see price closes below this high, below this low, sorry. And currently, this will only be a turtle soup if price closes above here. So that will be turtle soup. But if it doesn't close above here and it starts to push for what? Starts to push for this direction and breaks this position, we're heading straight for a church. And let me bring that picture up again. You can see what's happening right here. Price is pushing downwards towards this direction. It hasn't made its way past here yet, but if it does make its way out of this, and you can see this candle is literally rejection, if it makes its way out of this, we're most likely falling into the church. So let's see that on the weekly. On the weekly, we have this first bearish fair value gap, but we also have this other one. Now, is price respecting this fair value gap? In my opinion, I would say no. Why? Take a look at this. So price didn't sit inside this zone at all. It didn't go inside the zone well enough. It just dived. You see that instant dive, and then a slow pull out. This pull out is slow in my opinion. Matter of fact, this is the small structure I'm seeing here. You can see very, very messy structure, like an untrustworthy structure. So I don't trust this at all, in my opinion. I don't trust this at all for a swing trade. But if the economic calendar is telling you something different, then shoot, go ahead, take it. It is what it was. I don't trust this trade. So this is it for today's view of the markets on the majors only, right? The majors only. These are not the markets I am really looking at much. Though I have spotted like some things today that I really like, some things I will watch out for, and I will add them to my watch list. Things I want to trade. These are the ones I'm looking for options in to an extent. I've not even looked at them properly yet to see if I have like fair value gaps and reasons to trade, but Until then, I won't be taking trades. I've taken a trade today. I'm going to write that in my journal. I've been lazy on my journal recently. Nevertheless, I'm in love with this, and I'll catch you all on another one. Peace.